Hey guys, it's me Tilly, and it's finally time for another update video for Vindictus. We haven't had one like this in 5 weeks ever since the Leafer update, so we actually have a lot of patch notes to go through. Those are the longest notes that I've ever seen for the game so far, and I tried to filter out the most important information for you, so I won't sit here for hours explaining everything, because it actually could take that long. I would rather let you guys decide if you want to read through it, because I'll link it down below in the description if you want to spend hours reading and understanding everything. I will also link all of the events as well as the timestamps to these events down below in the description, just after the link to my Twitch and my Discord, where you can reach out to me if you have any questions about today's video or anything else related to the game. But with that being said, let's jump into the patch notes. We'll start off with a content that is rather underused and undervalued, which is the guild house. And there's two big changes in my opinion to it. Yes, you can teleport now in the guild house, which I think kind of just destroys the immersion of the guild house being a social place. However, more importantly, if you water the crops in the garden now, you get additional, like even more seals than you got before. The guild seals, which new characters want to get as fast as possible in order to get themselves a premium enhancement rune, which makes it possible for them to get their Astero weapon to plus 11, which is very important for you. You either have to wait 14 days right now to get it, or you have to buy it for like around 10 mil on EU. But with these changes, getting more guild seals from watering the crops in your garden, you might be able to shrug off 3 to 4 days on this time. You should get the water cans every time when daily reset happens, just like you get the feathers. So just look through them, maybe use the little search icon in your inventory, look for water, and you should be good. With this being said, the second part to the guild house is the cooldown on the most important facilities are gone, and they happen at daily reset now. Before you were able to use the vending machine for seals every 8 hours, and now you can just use it 3 times per day and it resets obviously on daily reset. Same goes for the fatigue you get by sleeping in a bed and the daily fortune scroll, which had a 24-hour cooldown. Now it's just changed to it resets on daily reset. Talking about underused content, let me actually talk about the character friendship system. If you open up your ally mode somewhere right here, which I'll find in no time because I'm using it so often, there's a pretty neat change to it. Firstly, the 3rd rank was introduced, which we obviously know we need rank 5 for the Destiny skills later on. And if you don't know about it, I'll make a video about it rather soon as talking about future content. However, you can now actually see the progress that you have. Like 59%, you can see on this bar what your daily progress is. This right here means I got all of the daily possible progress on my era. On my Eevee you can see I only got around 50% of it. And these visibility changes actually makes the content kind of enjoyable, where before you had to guess how far you were or what the daily progress was. I kind of like it. And as I said, rank 3 now is the highest one, and gotta get my era up there soonish. Cause the thing or the benefit basically only is you make them a bit stronger in these merc missions. They're in power stance for longer, they are tired for less after power stance. But more importantly, the story that you get to know about the character will be pretty cool, I guess, and I hope so. Alongside these changes, if you press J for the emotes, there should be 20 new voice lines for every character added. And my Arisha apparently is a chess grandmaster, because 50% of her voice lines are about chess. And my most favorite one probably, I have 2 most favorite ones. One where she just goes checkmate, which I think is really badass to do. And as you can see, focus 1 through 3, she basically uses her focus as a Siri or Amazon or whatever replacement where she just asks random questions like focus, what will be the weather like tomorrow, which I think is also super funny. But definitely let me know down below in the comments. I would really love to hear about your character and what you think is your new most favorite voice lines out of the new set. Feel free to literally just quote them down below in the comments, because I would love to hear what other cool voice lines there are right now. But with that being said, let's move on to a new piece of content, and it's actually objective fatigue. As you might know, objective like these shower right here exist, where you can place them down, and before there was nothing really to do, but now you can interact with them. I mean, you were able to interact before. However, interacting for 10 seconds now will give you 30 base fatigue. You can increase the fatigue that you get by getting more objective points. To get to know more about this, definitely visit your dressing room and make sure to unlock the skills that are referring to these objects, where I don't know how much you get per level, but the 30 base alone is already pretty good, and being able to get more is actually pretty huge. Like, this is a change I wasn't expecting. I mean, I knew it was coming, but even when it was put on the Korean server, it caught me off guard, but it's a welcome one afterward. Anyways, I guess. The next part, I wasn't quite sure on how to approach it, because it's a one that I would like to cover in a lot of depth. However, it would take actual hours to talk about it. It's character balancing. It's one of the biggest character balancings that I've seen, and I'll be honest, since my knowledge about other classes than Arisha is limited, and I won't know 100% how it affects each and every class, I made it into categories where I'll talk about classes that got big buffs, smaller buffs, and also classes that got nerfed. I will again suggest you to read through all of these changes yourself, because I'll link the patch notes down below in the bottom. So if your class is being mentioned and you don't know yet what they changed, definitely make sure to check out the link. But let's start with the characters that received big buffs. There's 5 of them. Hammer Fiona, Staff Eevee, Spellsword Arisha, Zestus Herg, and Dahlia. For Staff Eevee and Dahlia, we can cover them real fast, because for those it's actually just an increase to basically all of their skills. For Hammer Fiona and Zestus Herg, it's more in-depth, because they got a lot of changes. Damage increase, stamina consumption reduction, SP generation increase, and even more quality of life for Karok. I'm gonna talk about my bae, Arisha, for just a second, because she got probably the craziest ones, the most important ones, where she had like a lot of her wasted animations being removed. A lot of her animations are sped up now, and she's also able to cancel animations now, which turns Arisha, which was already a rather fast-paced character, into an absolute speed machine. Like literally the fast. You are crazy mobile, even more than before. You have way more control over your character. You have more damage uptime. It's so much fun to play Sword Arisha now. And I'll be honest, last week somebody came onto my stream and asked me if he should play Sword Arisha, and I hit him with a no. I didn't think it was worth it to go through the efforts of her meh damage alongside the buffs, the bugs that she had, and basically everything that was troublesome. This update changed my opinion. If you want to play Arisha, she's hella fun now. Give her a try. It will take a while to get used to it. She's not the easiest class out there, but once mastered now, she's really fun. I don't think I've had that much fun in like over a year or 2 in this game. Big props. She also got other changes, which I'm not going to mention too much. Basically some damage, some more mana, and full force being able to proc in mana mode. Let's move on, however, to the small buffs, where This might be controversial. There might be people being like, ooh, the Bell buffs are actually huge and they should be in the big buff section. For me, the reason, like, let's cover it straight away. Bell and Lether are the first two characters, which might even be big buffs. I put them into the small buff category because both of these classes already were very strong. All of the classes I mentioned in the big buff category were kind of meh before the buffs, but they got huge and very important buffs to them. However, Lether and Bell, they were strong before. Both of them got decent buffs to a point where you could say maybe even big buffs, but again, since I said, I keep repeating myself, they've been strong before. Four other characters, however, that actually only got small changes are Chainblade Vela, she starts with 10 stacks of Cold-Hearted More. Teed Herc got slight increase to some of his damaging skills. Miri, actually a rather rare guest on the buff list, got some buffs since a long while. And Aira is the next controversial character, because people might be, and by people I mean Aira players, because they like to complain. It's apparently a nerf for them. I think it's a small buff, and at the end of it all, it's probably like net neutral. You lose damage on your close range smashes, you gain damage on your long range smashes. Your inverse shot is also now regenerating stamina now. It's a give and take. Like, I think it's small buffs, but again, I'm not a mainer Aira, so that's why I'm trying to keep my opinion out of these. However, there's actually 3 nerfs that we need to talk about. The first one is also to my Bay Arisha, but her other weapon, the whip. Apparently, it was a bug that you were able to use Fierce Rondo whenever you wanted with the keyboard input. It's a bug that apparently has been in the game for over 2 years, and now they're fixing it. Good job. I don't know what to say here. You did it, Nexon. With that being said, these nerfs are not tragic for the weapon. It will probably result in a very, very tiny DPS drop, if in any DPS drop at all. A bit more real are the changes to Scythe Eevee. She got a slight damage decrease on her drain when it's enhanced. Again, Scythe is so strong right now that these very minor changes will not affect her power stance at any way, shape or form whatsoever. But the biggest letdown is actually my boy Silas. I was so happy when he finally got buffed on the last patch, and seeing how he's getting nerfed on the patch after actually is breaking my heart. I know this is where my heart is, wrong side, but Silas, I'm so sorry. With that being said, you're still stronger than you were before the initial buffs, so I guess it's still a win overall. But let's move on to the next topic, which is goldsmithing. You're now able to craft rings, earrings and belts through goldsmithing, which basically means if you're going for a new ring, earring or belt, you want to have a goldsmithing character or friend that tries to get you a 3 or 4 star accessory to save some money, get some additional stats. Apart from that, there's like pages upon pages of bug fixes that they did. Something like they tried to make the one-shot in Bridget's last phase a bit less obnoxious, which I'll be honest, I didn't really feel when I was doing Bridget earlier. They removed some bugs like first phase Makka, where she wasn't breaking the ground. The list goes on and on and on. Most of it didn't really happen often, and when it happened, it was like, And with that being said, I'll again leave it to you if you want to read through all of it in the notes. However, some things that I think are really important to know is, since it's Crom special God of Death week this time, or this week, they basically cut the time in half that the last phase is going on for. Before it felt like an eternity, and it was really bothering me how long you had to survive. They cut the time around in half to a point where it's actually fun for like a minute or half a minute or whatever, how long it's going on for. So that's pretty cool. They also tried to get rid of some multi-hits in basically every raid. So there might be less spaghetti going on right now. I don't want to say everything is fixed. I just want to say they are trying and they probably deserve some props for it. There are new options that I think are big game changers. That's not where I want to go. Go to the options and then go to video, advanced, and in the bottom you'll find hit effect and display comrades. Display comrades, really straightforward. You want to set it to display your own comrade because apparently everybody has a meme comrade since the last rerun, and every single meme comrade is about a 5 to 10 FPS drop for you. Get them out of my game. I don't ever want to see them again. This is the setting for you if you're getting bothered, not just by looking at them, but also by dropping FPS due to them. Same thing goes for hit effect right here. If you want your game to be easier to read, if you want less obnoxious screen shakes everywhere, set the hit effect to self only. By default, it will be all players. Set it to self only. Do yourself the favor. I was actually getting motion sick when I was doing Hellbailer the other day. And this might just be what I need to actually enjoy this content. Big game changer, very big. Nexon, thank you. This is long overdue, but still very appreciated. There's small changes to the fatigue system. As much as I would like to tell you fatigue is gone, it's not the case. However, fatigue is now only consumed upon completing a battle, which makes it so if you start a battle and somebody DCs, he's unable to reconnect, you at least can remake and you won't lose the fatigue. It's huge for new players, because if you want to grind Einlacker now, you can do so before being out of stamina. Fatigue, sorry. If you watch my new player's diary or beginner's diary, I told you only do it at the end of the day while being out of fatigue. Now you can just do it kind of whenever you want, because you'll only lose upon completing, and you shouldn't complete it unless you get the gold medal, so that's pretty cool. Another change that I mentioned in one of my previous videos is how now only weapons and armors that are plus 13 can be synthesized with mysterious abyssal shards, which means you can't easily trade them anymore by upgrading a +0 weapon and then trade the weapon to another character. I hope this will make it so they run more abyssal and mysterious shard events. The next big thing is basically them removing stimulants. Stimulants, if you didn't know, if you're new to the game and you just maybe haven't bothered yet, are some sort of potions, buff food, consumables that make you stronger in battle, and some classes were, I don't want to say abusing them, but there were definitely differences in strengths between classes. Them removing them, I think, is a good idea, even though right now some classes might suffer. I think it's good in the long run because it allows Nexon to balance around the class and not the class using a certain item. There were people abusing these stimulants. Let's talk about Lan. Let's talk about Miri. Let's talk about, I don't know, I think Bloodlin. If you were using the item compared to when you were not using the item, your damage difference was pretty big. And then removing this damage difference between the same class and now only making it about the class what the damage is, I think is healthy overall and is a good change. There's another change to a very important item, the extraction rune. If you don't know what it is, you basically haven't been playing the game for long enough. It's usually used to get the mysterious or abyssal shards back from your weapon or your armor if you upgrade to a next higher level piece of equipment. What you can do right now is once after getting these shards back, you can trade them within the account. Which, I'll be honest, it doesn't change much unless you're thinking about changing main characters. Talking about examples, my Arisha has like mysterious shards that are worth around 2 billion in her Astero weapon. And if I wanted to reroll to another class, if there was like this new hype class, which I'll be honest, there will never be class that hype as Sword Orisha, but just in theory, I could actually get these shards to this new character now. So for all of you guys that are on the Leafer hype train, for all of you guys who are on the Kale hype train, if you are serious about leaving your current main behind and changing to a new one, the extraction rune makes it actually more possible than ever before. But with this being said, those are the most important changes. There's actually one more that I kind of like, as you can see, as I'm moving around my character. My Orisha kind of follows along and kind of always tries to look me in the eyes, which I very appreciate. I'm happy. Sometimes it's kind of creepy if you come back and you're like this, and she kind of bends over and is like, yo bro, what you doing? You can also turn it off in the settings. There's like video settings and then face to camera. I kind of enjoy it though. I would enjoy it more if you could smile once if you see me, but you do you, Orisha, you do you. With the patch notes being covered, let's jump into the events, and everybody's most favorite event at first, it's gacha time. I just can't stress enough. I really can't. Nexon, hear me out. I don't want these titty sets in my game. They bring back the Moonshot and the Moonlight blues, but this time your titties and thighs are bigger. They're only bigger if you use the shorts and the blues at the same time, so big brain, if you want to use Moonlight or Moonshot, just use the blues and use other pants, different hot pants, to basically not enhance your boobies, which I think looks better. But yeah, I guess I would like to see a change where if you drop like a box for Moonlight and you can pick if you want the big titty or the regular one, maybe think about this next one. But there's other sets right here, obviously objects because of the object fatigue, that's now a thing. The shadow set for males look good, but these two are just phenomenal. The Marathon Missy and the Preppy Girl, A+ tier. Do be sure noted though that this is an inner armor right here they're showcasing, and yeah, it's a new one. It's probably like the best one ever to be released, so that's already pretty cool. I would, however, rate this gacha pretty good. Like, I don't hate anything. Like, apart from these being the TD sets, they're decent sets. Decent set, decent set, decent set. These are not bad right now with the object fatigue. Not a bad set, very good sets. Nothing to complain about in this one other than... However, let's move on to the actual first event. It's the Friendship Event, tied to the release of the 3rd level. Basically, it's going on for 2 weeks. You have to talk to the strange traveler. You then have to successfully complete 2 missions with a merc. You will get 2 additional friendship seals, which are used to unlock these new cool voice emotes. And yeah, basically you get 1 random reward of these. They're whatever. But I guess the premium buff is cool. You also get 1 gift per day, so you won't have to spend all of your gold to level up your mercs, which is also cool. I'll be honest, before I knew about the new voice lines being added and the seals being actually valuable again, I would have rated this a bad event. But with the new voice lines being added, this is a pretty good one. It's okay. I'll let it slide. Talking about good events, let's talk about finding the Aurum treasure event. It's going on for 4 weeks, and spoiler alert, it's not hard finding the chest, because for the first 4 times you're doing a raid every day, you get a chest. Raids obviously being everything from Dullahan until Nile. And you're guaranteed to get one of the coins from these chests that are you using later on to trade in for items in the exchange shop. I'll guide you through this in a second. However, you're getting one of these rewards per random in addition. Most likely you want to get the Damascus steel. Everything else as a progress player is rather meh. However, as a new player, you're obviously happy to get these synthesis items. Let's take a real quick look at the exchange shop right here. And then as a new player, 100% get the 100% succession rate armor scroll. You either want Weeping, Capture or Soul, most likely, since these are most likely the most expensive ones. Do make sure to check out their price though, to make sure you're not accidentally like picking the cheapest one. That's like 1 mil, right? Be smart about it. After that, or if you're a progress player like me, you want to pick the shards. They're very good. Very, very good. I like getting some shards for free. They are rare, they're good, they're powerful, and I'm happy to see that I'll get 3 of each for free. I would usually stay away from everything else unless you have like leftovers that you can use. I still don't see a reason for people to craft Astera. They're trying to bait you into it by giving you these max stat things, but the only way you should be using them, if you get them because you got everything else already, craft a piece of armor and try to sell it. That's like the biggest advice or best advice I can give to you. Moving on to the Gathering Dungeon event, however, it will go on as well for 4 weeks, and usually I rate these Gathering Dungeons meh, maybe even bad, because the best thing for you is like leveling your gathering proficiency, because there's 5 guaranteed luminaries. You get 1 entry ticket sent per mail every day on daily reset. You can buy more tickets in the forge. And usually most of these items, they are rather meh. I can show you real fast since I'm close by to the forge. But sadly, most of these items are just armor pieces, which you then had to fuse on your armor. Like, take a look at the bunnies. They're kind of cool. Like, I can see how they are cool to use. However, as I said, it's not a fashion item, it's a fusion. It's kind of meh, but there's one new item they added. There's multiple ones that they added, but there's one in particular, the Fiery Fists. If you take a look at them, you might see them glow already, but what you cannot see in the preview is they're basically the old Emanating Fists. And they have a aura that is similar to the Primal Flame weapons. And they look amazing, and them bringing back such an iconic and rare item in these Gathering Dungeons, I think is really huge. You need red essences for it, however, and what you need to know is these essences, there's blue and red ones, they're alternating every day. On the first day, today, 25th of August, Tuesday, it was red essence. So every time you were dropping an essence today, it was a red one guaranteed. They alternate, so tomorrow 26, it will be blue. And also on Sundays, you're able to drop both of them. If you really want to min-max for red essences to get these Emanating Fists, make sure to spend your tickets on red essence days. And if you're not quite sure about if it's a red essence day, if it's not, go into the dungeon, and if you collect these luminaries and it turns out to be a blue essence, quit out of the dungeon and try again the next day. Don't waste all of your tickets on a day where it's not red essences. But yeah, actually, before I knew about these Emanating Fists, I would have rated this event pretty bad. But with this single item being added, I think it's actually pretty cool. There's 2 more events to talk about, and I'm not happy about them being announced right now because both of them will only start in 2 weeks. I'll mention them very briefly. The Gods of Might event is basically you do Redeemers and you get Damascus Steel. 6 cleared Redeemers will result in 4 Damascus Steel. 100% I think Redeemers should be this rewarding all the time. It should not be an event. However, the rewards are welcome. If you haven't done Sea of Reflection or Dark Side of the Moon, Nimhain or Baylor as a new player yet, this is the time for you to do so. I keep praising, do your Redeemers, do your Redeemers, do your Redeemers if you're a new player. However, with these buffs, you're actually able to stay alive for much longer. So, do your Redeemers. The second event that's not starting right now but in 2 weeks, and the last event for today is a bingo event. Basically, it's all about this shirt right here. This is literally the only thing that's valuable out of this event. And I kind of like how they actually gave us a list of every battle that drops the numbers for bingo, instead of just saying all battles but these 5. Because I'm pretty sure it's like with the martial art pages, where they don't drop in like 5 Spider Brothers or like Niflheim or in general like multi-boss dungeons, but they made the effort and actually listed 90% of all dungeons in the game. So props to you, Nexon. Time well spent. However, the shirt is pretty cute and I'm kind of glad we get it. It's like a fan favorite in Korea, and a lot of people were looking forward to a day where we might actually get it. But with that being said, guys, I'm so sorry for the video being like probably like an hour or 2 long. There's just so much to talk about on this update today. It's not a lot of new content, but a lot of noticeable improvements to the game that were long overdue. And I'll be honest, we don't have to get new stuff every day. Sometimes you just need to fix what has to be fixed. And I appreciate that. But for now, I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great night. I hope you have a great morning. I hope you have a great whatever it is that you're doing. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.